Big Ambitions is now out in early access for all of you, and for many, it's the type of business game you've been waiting for, putting personality into the genre and offering a huge potential into the future. I'm Charlie, and I've got about 300 hours or so in this game, tinkering with all sorts of things as it was being developed all the way back to the early alphas. And I'm here in this video to share 10 things that I think will give you a great foothold in conquering the market needs of New York City in Big Ambitions. Now, these tips are in no particular order of importance, but I think all of them will be really good for the beginner players and maybe even a few of you out there who think you know everything already. Let's get started. Number 1. Don't use the small wholesaler. Uncle Fred is a great guide, and for the most part, listening to him will give you a sensible progression towards expanding your newly formed empire. But sometimes you can delay what he's telling you to do, and other times you should avoid it completely. One time in particular is when he tells you to visit this small wholesaler to purchase your first goods to sell in your store. Instead, you can ignore this place, go down one block towards the water, and visit this much larger building instead. This wholesaler sells everything the other one does, and does so cheaper consistently. In my opinion, unless this changes in the future, the small wholesaler really has no place in this game and should be avoided always. Eventually, Uncle Fred will introduce you to this place anyways, but it's available for you right off the bat, so you should just use it. Number 2, get a van. Continuing in his helpfulness, Uncle Fred also gives you a car to drive around in as soon as you quit your job and set out officially as an entrepreneur full-time. That car is nice because it's free and it lets you store up to 8 items in its trunk, but you should look to replace it quickly, as most of your gameplay in the early game is going to be making trips to that wholesaler I mentioned earlier. These trips will take up a lot of your time, and especially as you start expanding to new businesses. Instead, once you've got $6,000 in your account, you should visit this truck dealer down the street from the wholesaler and purchase a van of your choice and color. While this does eat into your money a bit in the early game, the time it saves you is well worth it, as you can hold more than double what your car can, meaning less trips overall to the wholesaler. This van can also be committed to a warehouse later when your logistics gets going, so the van isn't even a waste of a purchase once you are no longer in need of it. Number 3, let's take a break from talking about supplying your businesses and talk about how to read the workings of the business itself. This insight screen for your business is the only thing that matters when it comes to how well your business is doing. Everything else, especially the stuff happening inside when you are watching people flow in, is just fluff for looks and immersion. The activity happening inside, like employees moving to various locations to serve customers, or the fact that customers are even in the business at all, is meaningless to the operational efficiency and effectiveness of your business. Now, that doesn't mean, though, that looking in once in a while is a waste of your time. Oftentimes, customers will come in and little thought bubbles will appear above their heads. These are clues on what you can do to improve the ratings that you inevitably see lower than you'd like on the Insights tab. If you've already decorated, changed the walls and floors, provided music, etc., and your customers are no longer saying anything as they walk into your place, there's a good chance your customer satisfaction ratings are working out in your favor. Number 4, placing more people or items into a shop is not going to help you beyond the building maximum. Each building you buy has a maximum number of people that it can serve. When you add equipment to your business, each one of those items will allow your staff to serve a certain number of people towards the maximum. So for example, a burger grill can serve up to 20 people per hour. Adding 2 of these grills means that up to 40 can be served. If your building maximum is 30, you'll need 2 grills to be able to hit that, but you will never get 40. You're never going to be able to consistently serve over the amount of your building maximum, no matter how many grills you put in. It's important also to know that if you have below the needed number of any pieces of equipment in your store, you will see a yellow dot next to that item instead of a green dot. Your business will now have a reduced customer capacity when that happens. You are only as good as your weakest link here, so if you cannot purchase enough equipment to serve a certain item, wait until you can buy enough of them before offering it in your business. It's okay to pull that machine out of here and put it in storage. Otherwise, you'll have added a new product and have new expenses, but will have actually hurt your maximum customer count. On that note, the last thing I'll say here as part of tip 4 is that you'll need to be placing the correct number of cash registers or checkout counters in here too. That should also be telling you how many staff that you should have in here at a time. It doesn't matter visually if there's a line out the door to your shop. Remember, that's not real, okay? What is real is the capacity numbers that you see on the Insights screen. Don't staff more people than necessary, or you'll find your business is far less profitable than it should be as you pay more staff than required. Also, pay attention to how customer counts work with these. The regular cash register is 20, but the big checkout counter is 30, meaning possibly you could get by with one single employee at a time here. Now, I've got some more goodies here to share, but I wanted to take a quick second and remind you that the like button is right there under the video, and clicking that is a great way to support the video and get it in front of more eyes. Take a couple of seconds and do that for me if you feel I've earned it. Okay, back to the tips. Number 5, cleaners. They're not necessary. Okay, so for those of you who have been watching my series here on YouTube, you're probably going to smirk at me saying this, but consider me converted to the dark side here, okay? Don't hire cleaners. It's just a waste of money searching for them, training them, all that stuff. Your customer service employees have a cleaning skill as well. And while it is weak, it won't actually matter. At least it doesn't within this version of the game that I'm recording this with. Sometimes your employees will feel like they need more hours and you don't really feel like you need to open longer or want to staff more people at a certain time. Instead, put those employees on the cleaning task for an hour or two on that day. You could even have them work while the store isn't open. They'll get the extra hours they want, and as long as they don't specifically say that they don't want cleaning jobs, they'll be just as happy doing it. Number 6, you do not have to get everything yourself. If you're short on time, have stuff delivered. Setting up delivery contracts is something you're definitely going to want to do with the wholesaler, the big one, not the small one. They cost $1,000 to set up, and it's a $1,000 delivery fee for every delivery. This is a fixed fee, whether it's one box or a maximum of 20. So you should be maxing out these trucks to get the best value here. Until you have your own warehouses and trucks, this is going to be a good idea for you, especially once you get over 2 businesses. Otherwise, the game is going to turn into FedEx Driver Simulator for you. But products to sell aren't the only things you can have delivered. Furniture and equipment can also be brought to your door for you. Inside ICA, for example, there are store managers at these desks ready to take your order, and you can choose from a variety of options from a catalog this way. You can also do this by just simply calling ICA later. They will deliver the stuff you choose to you, just like your burgers and fries from before. But instead of magically appearing in your stockroom, these sorts of things will arrive in boxes just outside your business, ready for you to cart inside and sort from there. You can only have one pallet outside a business at a time, so make sure you can unload that stuff and get it into the building before the next delivery if you're having multiple deliveries. Otherwise, your second delivery is going to get canceled. Give it a try if you're crunching for time and don't have enough space in your van for everything you want hauling. Number 7, managing staff and product is far easier with the HQ building, but you should look to get this set up as soon as it is financially responsible to do. The process will cost you a lot of money, and you'll need to find 3 different types of specialized employees that won't directly make you any money, and you'll need to rent an office building and a warehouse, both of which are draining your bank too. Then comes the fixed cost purchases associated with buying potentially expensive office equipment, and the pallet shelves for your warehouses are very expensive. They're $3,000 each, and you're eventually going to need a whole lot of them. In other words, setting up the HQ and warehouses is going to cost you major money with no direct profit potential. You should still do it. Again, when you can afford it, because these 2 buildings will enter you into the mid-game, and it's a huge improvement for your business as your capacity to handle more and more businesses dramatically improves. Training for your employees automatically gets handled by HR, so long as your HR rep is high enough skill to handle them all. Purchasing agents get you major discounts on importing items in bulk, reducing your cost of goods sold steeply and improving your margins. Logistics managers save you an enormous amount of time by not just delivering all the goods needed for your business, but keeping tabs on the stock that those businesses have and moving them only when needed. Overall, getting to that point in the game should be a major priority for you as a player, but I would wait until you have at least 3 profitable businesses before going and jumping into it. These buildings allow you to expand rapidly, but if you are too small, it'll eat into your profits and kill your expansion capability. Make sure you're ready for the cost before you get into them. Oh, and remember, you can do any of these things you want whenever you want. You don't need to wait for Uncle Fred to tell you to do it. Number 8, don't overlook happiness. Happiness plays a big role in your ability to manage your employees effectively and keep their morale up. Some employees will even demand a peaceful work environment, which you can only provide them when you are in a good mood. After all, nobody likes working for a cranky boss. You can do many things to improve your character's happiness, so take the time to do it once in a while, including playing video games on a computer in your apartment, watching television, going for a walk or sleeping on a bench in a park, even visiting the casino. Gambling's pretty fun, right? Activities like this are there to remind you that this is an RPG as well. You are role-playing here too, meaning you're a human being in this digital world and you have human needs. Don't neglect yourself by not enjoying life a bit. Otherwise, you'll find yourself in sadness states where you never want to leave your apartment, or your employees will become upset with working for you and will make additional demands or just quit. Treat yourself well and you'll treat your people well too. Number 9, loans are your friend. Now this one I actually don't care for as much, and I hope it changes in its balance after making this video, but at least as of the release version of this game, interest that accumulates in the game is based on the initial loan amount borrowed, not your remaining balance. This means that a $40,000 loan will have just as much interest hitting you every single day when you borrow $40K as it does when you've paid off most of that $40K and you still have $10K left. It's still the same interest every day until the loan is totally paid off. So for that reason, it makes sense to adopt one of two strategies. Either set your payments to 0 and pay nothing at all except the interest every day until you can just clear it, or you can game it out a little bit by making regular payments just like you normally would have, but having your interest reduced at the same time. This method, called the microloan method as I'm putting it, involves taking smaller loans that equal up to the loan amount that you want, and then just simply paying off each individual loan, which is smaller, one by one. This will allow you to make payments on the loans, but also reduce your interest over time. Overall, though, loans in the game should probably just be utilized to their maximum extent to grow your businesses. They are a tool, and at release, they're way too easy to get and carry very little risk for you as a player. So instead of using your money to get rich, use somebody else's. Just make sure that whenever you borrow, you're putting that money towards increasing your bottom line, right? Put that money to work to increase your profits. Don't just sit on it, because then you're absolutely going to fail. And last but not least, number 10, I think this is a really important one. Take the time to decorate your shops. Too often in this game, you'll find that you do things just because it'll make you more money. Once you have a stable inflow of cash coming in though, spend it, making your shops really shine. This is part of the fun of building games like this. Using the interior designer, you can change the floors and walls, but you can also right-click on most non-equipment items in the game and alter their colors like this too. As of this video, this has to be done one at a time, but you can save the colors you choose and reuse them with any other item later. Hopefully, more bulk selection and bulk application options will be introduced later on with greater flexibility, but this is part of the fun of the game. Take decorative items like plants and radios and all sorts of things, and try to design really cool looking places. Make your shops your own. So anyway, these are my top 10 tips to get you going. I'm certain that there's many things I've missed here, so if you can think of anything notable that I might have missed, leave it in the comments, and you might help somebody else out. When the game updates, if anything major changes here, I'll update this guide and link it in the comment that's pinned down below. Thank you so much for watching, and for the like and subscribe if you press them. Have a wonderful day.